The Odyssey, Book 4. Lines 1 to 124 are omitted. Menelaus welcomes Telemachus and entertains him, but does not yet know his identity. When Menelaus mentions Odysseus, Telemachus begins to weep. While Menelaus pondered this, Helen came from her fragrant bedroom, like gold-spindled Artemis. Adraste, her attendant, drew up a beautiful chair for her, and Alcippe brought her a soft wool rug. Another maid, Philo, brought a silver basket, a gift from Alcandre, wife of Polybus, who lived in Thebes, the city in Egypt that has the wealthiest houses in the world. Polybus had given Menelaus 2 silver baths, 2 tripods, and 10 bars of gold, and his wife, Alcandre, gave to Helen beautiful gifts of her own, a golden spindle and a silver basket with gold-rimmed wheels. This basket Philo now placed beside her, filled with fine-spun yarn, and across it was laid the spindle, twirled with violet wool. Helen sat upon the chair, a footstool under her feet, and questioned her husband. "Do we know, Menelaus, who our guests claim to be? Shall I speak my mind or not? My heart urges me to speak. I have never seen such a resemblance between any 2 people, man or woman, as between this man and Odysseus' son, as I imagine him now. Telemachus, who was a newborn baby when for my heart's sake, shameless thing that I was, the Greeks came to Troy with war in their hearts, and Menelaus, the red-haired king, replied. Now that you mention it, I see the resemblance myself. The feet, the hands, the way he looks at you, that head of hair. And just now when I was talking about Odysseus, saying how much he went through for my sake, tears welled up in his eyes, bitter tears, and he covered his face with his purple cloak." At this, Nestor's son, Pisistratus, spoke up. "Menelaus, son of Atreus, Zeus-bred king, this is indeed, as you say, Odysseus' son. But he is prudent and would not think it proper when he got here to make a big speech before you, whose voice delights us as a god. Nestor of Gerenia sent me with him as a guide, for he was eager to see you, hoping that you could suggest something he could do or say. A son has many problems to face at home when his father is gone, and there is no one else to help him. So it is now with Telemachus, whose father is gone, and there is no one else among the people to keep him from harm." And Menelaus, the red-haired king, replied, "What's this? Here in my house? The son of my dear friend who did so much for me. I used to think that if he came back, I would give him a welcome no other Greek could ever hope to have. If Olympian Zeus had brought us both home from over the sea in our swift ships, I would have given him a city of his own in Argos, built him a house, brought him over from Ithaca with his goods, his son, and all of his people, a whole city cleared out just for him. We would have been together, enjoying each other's company, and nothing would have parted us until death's black cloud finally enfolded us. But I suppose Zeus himself begrudged us this, for Odysseus alone, that unlucky man, was never brought home." His words aroused in all of them a longing for lamentation. Argive Helen, a child of Zeus, wept. Telemachus wept, and Menelaus wept, the son of Atreus. Nor could Nestor's son keep his eyes dry, for he remembered Antilochus, his flawless brother, who had been killed by Memnon, Dawn's resplendent son. and this memory gave wings to his words. Son of Atreus, old Nestor used to say, whenever we talked about things like this, that no one could match your understanding. So please understand me when I say that I do not enjoy weeping after supper. It will be dawn before we know it. Not that I think it's wrong to lament the dead. This is all we can do, cut our hair and shed some tears. I lost someone myself at Troy, my brother, not the least hero there. You probably knew him. I am too young ever to have seen him, but men say Antilochus could run and fight as well as any man alive. And Menelaus, the red-haired king, replied, No one could have put that better, my friend, not even someone much older. Your speech, wise and clear, shows the sort of father you have. It's easy to spot a man for whom Zeus has spun out happiness in marriage and children, as he has done for Nestor throughout his life, and now he has reached a sleek old age in his halls. And his sons are wise and fight with the best. So we will stop this weeping, and once more think of supper. Let the servants pour water over their hands. Telemachus and I will have much to say to each other come morning. So he spoke, and Asphalion, Menelaus's attendant, poured water over their hands, and they reached out for all the good cheer spread out before them. But Helen, child of Zeus, had other ideas. She threw a drug into the wine bowl they were drinking from, a drug that stilled all pain, quieted all anger, and brought forgetfulness of every ill. Whoever drank wine laced with this drug would not be sad or shed a tear that day, not even if his own father and mother should lie there dead, or if someone killed his brother or son before his eyes. Helen had gotten this potent, cunning drug from Polydamna, the wife of Thon, a woman in Egypt, where the land proliferates with all sorts of drugs, many beneficial, many poisonous. Men there know more about medicines than any other people on earth, for they are the race of Paeon, the healer. When she had slipped the drug into the wine, Helen ordered another round to be poured, and then she turned to the company and said, Menelaus, son of Atreus in the line of Zeus, and you sons of noble fathers, it is true that Zeus gives easy lives to come to us and hard lives to others. He can do anything, after all. But you should sit now in the hall and feast and entertain yourselves by telling stories. I'll start you off. I couldn't begin to tell you all that Odysseus endured and accomplished, but listen to what that hero did once in the land of Troy, where Achaeans suffered. First, he beat himself up, gave himself some nasty bruises, then put on a cheap cloak so he looked like a slave. And in this disguise, he entered the wide streets of the enemy city. He looked like a beggar, far from what he was back in the Greek camp, and fooled everyone when he entered Troy. I alone recognized him in his disguise and questioned him, but he cleverly put me off. It was only after I had bathed him and rubbed him down with oil and clothed him and had sworn a great oath not to tell the Trojans who he really was until he got back to the ships, that he told me at last what the Achaeans had planned. He killed many Trojans before he left, and arrived back at camp with much to report. The other women in Troy wailed aloud, but I was glad inside, for my heart had turned homeward, and I rued the infatuation Aphrodite gave me when she led me away from my native land. leaving my dear child, my bridal chamber, and my husband, a man who lacked nothing in wisdom or looks. And her husband, Menelaus, the red-haired king, replied, "A very good story, my wife, and well told, but now I have come to know the minds of many heroes, and have traveled far and wide, but I have never laid eyes on anyone who had an enduring heart like Odysseus. Listen to what he did in the wooden horse, where all we Argive chiefs sat waiting to bring slaughter and death to the Trojans. You came there then with godlike Deiphobus. Some god who favored the Trojans must have lured you on. Three times you circled our hollow hiding place, feeling it with your hands, and you called out the names of all the Argive leaders, making your voice sound like each of our wives in turn. Diomedes and I, sitting in the middle with Odysseus, heard you calling and couldn't take it. We were frantic to come out, to answer you from inside, but Odysseus held us back and stopped us. Then everyone else stayed quiet also, except for Anticlus, who wanted to answer you. But Odysseus saved us all by clamping his strong hands over Anticlus's mouth and holding them there until Athena led you off. Then Telemachus said in his clear-headed way, "Menelaus, son of Atreus in the line of Zeus, it is all the more unbearable then, isn't it? My father may have had a heart of iron, but it didn't do him any good in the end. Please send us to bed now. It is time we rested and enjoyed some sweet sleep." He spoke, and Helen of Argos told her maids to place beds upon the porch and spread upon them beautiful purple blankets and fleecy cloaks. The maids went out of the hall with torches and made up the beds, and a herald led the guests out to them. So they slept there on the palace porch, and the hero Telemachus and Nestor's glorious son. But Menelaus slept in the innermost chamber of that high house, next to Helen, Zeus's brightness upon her. Dawn brushed her pale rose fingers across the sky, and Menelaus got out of bed and dressed. He slung his sharp sword around his shoulder, tied oiled leather sandals onto his feet, and walked out of the bedroom like a god. Then he sat down next to Telemachus and said, "Tell me, Telemachus, what has brought you here to gleaming Sparta over the sea's broad back? Public business or private? Tell me the truth." Telemachus took a deep breath and said, "Menelaus, son of Atreus in the line of Zeus, I came to see if you could tell me anything about my father. My land is in ruin. I'm being eaten out of house and home by hostile men who constantly throng my halls, slaughtering my sheep and horned cattle in their arrogant courtship of my mother. And so I am at your knees. Tell me how my father Odysseus met his end, whether you saw it with your own eyes or heard about it from someone else, some wanderer. He was born to sorrow, more than any man on earth, and do not, out of pity, spare me the truth, but tell me whatever you have seen, whatever you know. I beseech you, if my father, noble Odysseus, ever fulfilled a promise he made to you in the land of Troy, where the Achaeans suffered, remember it now, and tell me the truth." And Menelaus, deeply troubled by this, said, "Those dogs, those puny weaklings, wanting to sleep in the bed of a hero. A doe might as well bed her suckling fawns in the lair of a lion, leaving them there in the bush and then going off over the fields looking for grassy fields. When the lion comes back, the fawns die an ugly death. That's the kind of death these men will die when Odysseus comes back. O Father Zeus, and Athena, and Apollo, bring Odysseus back with the strength he showed in Lesbos once, when he wrestled a match with Philomelides and threw him hard, making all of us cheer. That's the Odysseus I want the suitors to meet. They'd get married all right, to bitter death. But as to what you ask me about, I will not stray from the point or deceive you. No, I will tell you all that the infallible old man of the sea told me, and hide nothing. I was in Egypt, held up by the gods because I failed to offer them sacrifice. The gods never allow us to forget them. There is an island in the white-capped sea just north of Egypt. Men call it Pharos, and it lies one day sailing offshore. There is a good harbor there where ships take on fresh water before heading out to sea. The gods kept me stuck in that harbor for 20 days. A good sailing breeze never rose up, and all my supplies would have been exhausted and my crew spent had not one of the gods taken pity on me and saved me. This was Idothea, daughter of Proteus, the old man of the sea. Somehow I had moved her heart. She met me as I wandered alone, apart from my crew, who roamed the island continually, fishing with bent hooks, their bellies cramped with hunger. She came close to me and spoke. "Are you completely out of your mind, stranger? Or do you actually like suffering like this? You've been marooned on this island a long time with no end in sight, and your crew's fading fast." She spoke like this, and I answered her. "I tell you, goddess, whichever goddess you are, that I am not stranded here of my own free will. I must have offended one of the immortals. But you tell me, for gods know everything, which of the immortals is pinning me down here and won't let me go? And tell me how I can sail back home over the teeming sea." And the shining goddess answered me, "Well, all right, stranger, since you ask, this is the haunt of an unerring immortal, Egyptian Proteus, the old man of the sea, who serves Poseidon and knows all the deeps. They say he's my father. If you can somehow catch him in ambush here, he will tell you the route, and the distance, too, of your journey home over the teeming sea. And he will tell you, Prince, if you so wish, what he has been done in your house, for better or worse, while you have been gone on your long campaign." So she spoke, and I answered her, "Show me yourself how to ambush the old god, or he may give me the slip. It's hard for a mortal to master a god." And the shining goddess answered me, "I'll tell you exactly what you need to know. When the sun is at high noon, the unerring old man of the sea comes from the salt water. Hidden in dark ripples, the west wind stirs up, and then lies down to sleep in the scalloped caves. All around him seals, the brine spirits brood, sleep in a herd. They come out of the grey water with breath as fetid as the depths of the sea. I will lead you there at break of day, and lay you in a row, you and 3 comrades chosen by you as the best on your ship. Now I'll tell you all the old man's wiles. First, he will go over the seals and count them, and when he has counted them off by 5s, he will lie down like a shepherd among them. As soon as you see him lying down to rest, screw up your courage to the sticking point and pin him down, no matter how he struggles and tries to escape. He will try everything, and turn into everything that moves on the earth, and into water also, and a burning flame. Just hang on and grip him all the more tightly. When he finally speaks to you of his own free will, in the shape you saw him in when he lay down to rest, then ease off, hero, and let the old man go. And ask him which of the gods is angry with you, and how you can sail home over the teeming sea. And with that, she slipped into the surging sea. I headed for my ships where they stood on the sand, and brooded on many things as I went. When I had come down to the ships and the sea, we made supper, and when night came on, we lay down to take our rest on the beach. When dawn came, a palmetto of rose, I went along the shore of the open sea, praying over and over to the immortal gods, taking with me the 3 of my crew I trusted the most for any adventure. The goddess, meanwhile, dove under water, and now came back with the skins of 4 seals, all newly flayed. She was out to trick her father. She scooped out hiding places for us in the sand, and sat waiting as we cautiously drew near. Then she had us lie down in a row, and threw a seal skin over each of us. It would have been a gruesome ambush. The stench of the seals was unbearable, but the goddess saved us by putting ambrosia under each man's nose, drowning out the stench with its immortal fragrance. So we waited patiently all morning long. And then the seals came from the water in throngs. They lay down in rows along the seashore, and at noon the old one came from the sea. He found the fat seals and went over the herd, counting them up. He counted us first, never suspecting any kind of trick, and then he lay down. We rushed him with a shout and got our hands on him, and the old one didn't forget his wiles, turning first into a bearded lion, then a serpent, a leopard, and a huge boar. He even turned into flowing water and into a high leafy tree. But we held on, gritting our teeth, and at last the wily old man of the sea grew weary and said to me, "Which god have you plotted with, son of Atreus, to catch me off guard? What do you want?" He spoke, and I answered him. "You know, old man, don't try to put me off, how long I have been stuck on this island with no end in sight. I'm losing heart. Just tell me this, you gods know everything. Which of the immortals has marooned me here? How can I sail home over the teeming sea?" When I said this, he answered, "You should have offered noble sacrifice to Zeus and the other gods before embarking if you wanted a speedy journey home over the deep purple sea. It is not your fate to come home to your friends and native land. Either Aegisthus will still be alive, or Orestes may have beat you to it and killed him, and you may happen to arrive during his funeral." These words warmed my heart, although I was still in shock. Then I asked him, "I know now what became of these 2, but who is the 3rd man, the one who's alive and held back by the sea, or perhaps is dead? I want to hear about him, despite my grief." Oops. Rewind. "You should have offered noble sacrifice to Zeus and the other gods before embarking if you wanted a speedy journey home over the deep purple sea. It is not your fate to come home to your friends and native land until you go once more to the waters of the Aegyptus, the sky-fed river, and offer holy hecatombs to the immortal gods who hold high heaven. Only then will they grant the journey you desire." When he said this, my spirit was crushed. It was a long, hard pull over the misty deep back to Aegyptus. Still I answered, "I will do all these things, just as you say. But tell me this, and tell me the truth. Did all the Achaeans make it home in their ships? All those whom Nestor and I left at Troy? Or did any die on shipboard, or in their friends' arms, after winding up the war?" To which Proteus said, "Why, son of Atreus, ask me about this. You don't need to know, nor do I think you will be free from tears once you have heard it. Many were killed in the war. You were there and know who they were. Many, too, survived. On the homeward journey 2 heroes died. Another still lives, perhaps, held back by the sea. Ajax went down among his long-oared ships. Poseidon had him driven into Gyrae's rocks, but saved him from the sea. He would have escaped, despite Athena's hatred, but he lost his wits and boasted loudly that he had survived the deep in spite of the gods. Poseidon heard this boast, and with his trident he struck Gyrae's rock and broke it asunder. One part held firm, but the other, upon which Ajax sat, in his blind arrogance, fell into the gulf and took Ajax with it, and so he perished, his lungs full of salt water. Your brother, though, outran the fates in his hollow ship with the help of Hera. But when he was nearing Malia's heights, a storm wind caught him and carried him groaning over the teeming sea to the frontier of the land where Thyestes once lived, and after him Thyestes' son, Aegisthus. Then the gods gave him a following wind and safe passage homeward. Agamemnon rejoiced to set foot on his ancestral land. He fell to the ground and kissed the good earth, and hot tears of joy streamed from his eyes. So glad was he to see his homeland again. But from a high lookout, a watchman saw him. Aegisthus had treacherously posted him there and promised a reward of 2 bars of gold. He had been keeping watch for a year by then, so that Agamemnon would not slip by unseen and unleash his might. And now he reported his news to Aegisthus, who acted quickly and set a trap. He chose his 20 best men and had them wait in ambush. Opposite them, on the hall's farther side, he had a feast prepared, and then he drove off in his chariot, brooding darkly, to invite Agamemnon. So he brought Agamemnon up to the palace, unaware of his doom, and slaughtered him the way an ox is slaughtered at the stall. None of Agamemnon's men was left alive, nor any of Aegisthus. All were slain in the hall. Proteus spoke, and my heart was shattered. I wept and wept as I sat on the sand, losing all desire to live and see the light of the sun. When I could not weep or flail about any more, the unerring old man of the sea addressed me. "Weep no more, son of Atreus. We gain nothing by such prolonged bouts of grief. Instead, go as quickly as you can to your native land. Either Aegisthus will still be alive, or Orestes might have beat you to it and killed him, and you may happen to arrive during his funeral." These words warmed my heart, although I was still in shock. Then I asked him, "I know now what became of these 2, but who is the third man, the one who's alive but held back by the sea, or perhaps is dead. I want to hear about him despite my grief." Proteus answered me without hesitation. "It is Laertes' son, whose home is in Ithaca. I saw him on an island, shedding salt tears in the halls of Calypso, who keeps him there against his will. He has no way to get home to his native land. He has no ships left, no crew to row him over the sea's broad back. As for you, Menelaus, Zeus's cherished king, you are not destined to die and to meet your fate in blue-grass Argos. The immortals will take you to the ends of the earth and the Elysian fields, where Rhadamanthus lives and life is easiest. No snow, nor storm, nor heavy rain comes there, but a sighing wind from the west always blows off the ocean, a cooling breeze for men. For Helen is your wife, and in the gods' eyes, you are the son-in-law of great Zeus himself." And with that, he dove into the surging sea. I went back to the ships with my godlike companions and brooded on many things as I went. When we had come down to the ships and the sea, we had made supper. Immortal night came on, and we lay down to take our rest on the beach. When dawn came with palmettos of rose, we hauled our ships down to the shining water and set up the masts and sails in the hulls. The crews came aboard, and sitting in rows, they beat the sea white with their churning oars. And so I sailed back to the rain-fed Aegyptus, moored my ships, and offered perfect sacrifice. When I had appeased the everlasting gods, I heaped a barrow for Agamemnon, so that his memory would not fade. Only then did I set sail for home, and the gods gave me a following wind that brought me back swiftly. Editor's note: the rest of Book 4, lines 618 to 907, is omitted. The suitors discover that Telemachus has set sail, and they prepare an ambush for him at sea. End of Book 4.